Hello all, this is JC3 from Is This Real? Do you want to start your own podcast? Then look no further than Buzzsprout.com. We here at Green Hour Media use Buzzsprout, and we love the team at Buzzsprout. They are all about helping you succeed. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. Follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 paid Amazon gift card if you sign up with a paid plan and helps support our show. Join us and over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout.com to get your message out to the world.
Tuning in from the angriest man in the land studios, I'm Ryu West. Green Arrow Media presents Is This Real? We're going to be talking about LLorona, aka the Crier.
Welcome, everybody. And thank you for that intro this week, Mr. West himself. Sober West this week. We got a Sober West. As usual, JC3. We got Dad in the booth back with us this week. Dad, welcome back.
I'm back, and I'm back.
Yeah, okay. As you heard, Mr. West, as usual.
Okonbawa.
Roblox-san.
Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody?
So, today is July 1st, and this will be put up on July 4th. So,
America's birthday.
Happy birthday, America.
Wow.
America.
So, this week's episode, as Mr. West said, we were talking about LLorona, or La Corona, or whatever the fuck you want to say.
Just say the Crier.
The Crier,
Just
in
the
English.
Crier. That would probably be
And,
the best.
we have touched base on her before. We were talking about the movie in our Conjuring universe episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think both of you were there, or I think maybe just Josh was there one episode, you were there the other episode. I think it was something like that.
I know. I think we all made our first debut as us four during the Conjuring 2 episode.
The Conjuring 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't really touch on her too much in those episodes, actually.
Well, we
If
didn't
I
go
remember.
deep into her lore, but we talked about the movie.
Well, I think we said one sentence about her.
Well,
We try to get him to pronounce the name right.
yeah. So we're talking about the lore, the actual the folklore that is, I guess, Central American. I guess you would say it stems from Mexico.
Southwest.
Same shit.
I think they got one different in a lot of every part of South America, and even into New Mexico, just across the border. I think there's a lot to it. And
Well, yeah, it's basically her. We'll get into it in a couple minutes, but her lore is more like a line of the Weeping Woman or the Woman in White.
Yeah, I was about to say she's very much like the woman in white in most American.
The Woman in White is more about bride and shit like that
Wasn't
getting
she,
killed on her wedding night.
I thought she was a hitchhiker.
Yeah, because she was a hitchhiker, got hit by a car on her wedding night. That's at least the lore I heard of the Woman in White. This one, as we will read, is more about her children and what she did to her children. So, the mythology behind LLorona. The legend has a wide variety of details and versions. In a typical version of the legend, a beautiful woman named Maria marries a rich ranchero or conquistador, with whom she bears 2 children. One day, Maria sees her husband with another woman, and in a fit of blind rage, she drowns their children in a river.
now, why the fuck would you do that?
It was blind madness.
Blind rage.
Well, wait a minute. When I tried to drown one of my 4 kids, they got pissed off at me.
Okay. First of all, we cannot put that up on
Yeah,
air.
but you didn't marry a rich ranchero, my nigga.
That's true.
Anyway, she immediately regrets. Unable to save them and consumed by guilt, she drowns herself as well, but is unable to enter the afterlife, forced to be in purgatory and roam the earth until she finds her children. In another
Perjury or purgatory?
Purgatory. Sorry, not perjury. Sorry, she didn't lie under oath. Again, I can't read, so fuck off.
I'm the one drinking.
Hey, I have 1 bottle down
I have
already.
one
Okay.
beer. I've had 4 shots, bro.
Yes. In another version of the story, her children are illegitimate.
Welcome to the Alcoholics Hour.
Well, we have the granddaddy of alcoholism.
Okay, first of all,
Anyway, in another version of the story, her children are illegitimate, and she drowns them so that their father cannot take them away to be raised by his wife. Recurring themes and variations of La Llorona myth include white dresses, nocturnal wailing, and an association with water. The mother archetype of La Llorona has been tied to patriarchal expectations of women and Mexican American culture by several authors, historians, and social critics. Social critics often consider Mexican and Mexican American culture to enforce patriarchal standards unto women, such as defined by their roles as mothers. La Llorona's falling into the trope of an evil or failed mother having either committed infanticide or having failed to save them from the drowning. Can be considered a reflection of this. So, this bitch killed her kids in either a fit of rage because of cheating or because they're not her kids and she doesn't want the father.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any documented evidence that this woman actually existed, or is this just a fable that's passed down through the years?
I think it's a giant fable.
Right.
But again, it goes into the
because it's a very vague name. Just it's Maria.
Yeah,
no last name, no nothing.
But like I said, it goes in that same type of folklore as the the weeping woman or the woman in white. That type of every area of the country has that type of folklore. Like we have one over here. That's the Annie's Road. It's the same type of shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you never heard the story of Annie's Road?
Well, I know of Annie's Road. I didn't know the story of Annie's Road.
Okay, so Dad, you know most of the story, but this is now not Clifton.
New West Milford.
No, it's actually in
Totowa. Totowa, New Jersey. If
and
people.
It's actually the real name of the street is Riverview Drive, and the legend has it that this woman got out of her car on this road on her wedding night. And for whatever reason, was walking, struck my car, and she was killed. And she forever would haunt it. Now, again, I can, from my own personal experience, I've never seen anything. I've never felt anything. I mean, yeah, and one time I ran out of gas on Annie's Road like 2 a.m. I had to walk past the cemetery by myself.
What were you doing out at 2 o'clock in the morning, sir?
And a blinding snowstorm.
Listen. You don't ask these questions.
So that was pretty fucked up. But I put the hat over my head. I kept walking. You think you hear this, you think, but I look around. There was nothing there, and it was walking in pure darkness because there's no lights on that road, which adds to the creepiness of it. But yeah, that's the legend of that. And
I mean, I remember the first episode, just random as hell. This story just reminds me of the first ever episode of Supernatural.
Yeah.
The pilot episode.
The pilot episode is exactly that.
It's the Weeping Woman,
and that's what I'm saying. It's a tale that everybody talks about. Everybody knows. Obviously, the movie made tons of money. It was an okay movie. I didn't really.
I don't think I remember watching it.
It was a typical
horror movie
with jump scares and everything like that in the Conjuring universe. But again, it's one of those things that you have to sit there and really think about, because again, it goes into a legend of America and stuff like that.
Is there people that actually have seen this woman? That they're claiming to have seen her?
There have been a couple sightings. I'm looking for them right now, actually. Josh, I know you're on a page. Mm-hmm. Just if you want to read that while I look for, I don't know if it's the same type of shit that I was talking about, but
essentially, unfortunately, there's really not much. Basically, the same thing you said. Like no one really knows where the tale began or where it originated from. The sources all have the same common thread. Unfortunately, there's not really people who say they have witnessed it. But there's a report, or part of the folklore is that not long after her death, her Oh God, I can't talk right now. Sorry.
It's okay. Gather your thoughts.
Her restless spirit began to appear walking the banks of the Santa Fe River when darkness fell. Now, a little tidbit to add to that for people who don't know is that she drowned. Well, like you said, she drowned her kids, and that's mostly where her spirit would stay around. And the tale grew more famous because parents would actually use that to scare their kids and to not so much as making them behave, but as to make sure.
It's definitely a behavior thing.
Yeah, it kind
Oye, mijo, pórtate bien o yo te voy a llamar la llorona.
Basically.
Whatever the fuck that said.
Basically to have their kids come home before dark. It was, to be protective, but also like,
To scare them.
Yeah, to scare them, a little bit of a obedience thing to make sure they come in. It's one of those things.
That's
like,
fucked up.
Yeah, it's one of those things, but it's just like the same thing as the boogeyman.
Boogie.
Yeah,
Boogie.
Or a monster under your bed or something like that. You know what I mean? It's one of those tales that have some common things.
This reminds me of like Bloody Mary because it's just like it's one of those things that
it's a folklore.
like it has so many different varieties and different stories.
So we're going to take a short little break right now, and then we're going to come back and actually I have a couple reader stories that I'm going to read to you guys, and we'll debate whether or not we believe it or not.
That's when I won.
All right. Are you looking for a vinyl LP or cassette tape? 45 RPM? If so, you come to the right place. Golden Spins. We have thousands of titles in stock and ready to ship. Call us at 862-336-2275 or go to our store at discogs.com/seller/goldenspins/profile. We can find whatever you may need. We proudly accept PayPal and every major credit card. And welcome back. So, before we went on break, I said we were going to talk about a couple stories I have about La Llorona. I have to say it that way, just to get it out.
That's
correctly.
Fine. You're not really saying it that wrong. Just continue.
I didn't ask you, all right?
You could say the crier, the weeping woman, or the wailer.
That just sounds like I'm calling her fat. She's a whaler.
I mean, it just sounds like she hunts whales or something.
Okay. So I have a couple reader stories. This one is from Brian in Colorado from October 2008. Hello, Brian from Colorado.
Hello.
La Llorona woke me up once when I was camping at Indian Falls Rapids on the Yampa River in Colorado when I was 15. I walked with her to a cabin, and there was a man in a bed. All I saw was his foot, but when she yelled at me to run, I did. If I didn't smash my toe on a rock, I would have run off the cliff into the Indian Falls Rapids.
Bullshit.
I saw an article in this month's Mountain Gazette about her and looked her up on the internet. My experience was 21 years ago.
Okay, now wait a minute. He walked with the spirit to a cabin. Did they speak along the way?
That
Did
just
they
sounds like-
skip?
This is just what
And
he wrote. That's it.
now, what was the last part of that?
All I saw, he went to the cabin, saw a man in a bed. All he saw was his foot, but when she yelled at him to run, he did. Talking about Brian now. He goes, if I didn't smash my toe on a rock, I would have run off the cliff into the Falls Rapids.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr. Hogs to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics.
I got one from Texas, if you want me to read that.
Yes.
All right. So this one is McAllen, Texas. La Llorona sighting. Wow, I'm over here talking like these guys.
What do you mean, these guys?
these Caucasian guys that don't know how to speak Spanish.
You racist bastard.
Thank you. Okay, quote. This story was related to me by my longtime friend Isaac and his buddy. The story goes back to the year 1986 during a hot summer night. That night, my friend Isaac decided to go fishing with his buddy to the reservoir that is located to McAllen Miller Airport, Texas. In spite of his parents' permission, they went anyways. Behind his parents' back, they took all the fishing gear and packed it in the trunk of Isaac's mom's car and secretly got his mom's car keys and took off with his friend. Back then, a lot of teens went to party at that reservoir during the night and made an opening through the wired fence. Well, Isaac and his friend got there without problems and gained access to the reservoir since there was a big opening through the wire fence. Duh, you just said that. They unloaded everything and they started to fish in the middle of the gentle and calm night. All of a sudden, a white mist started to form in the middle of the reservoir, and Isaac stared at the white mist and gave the form of a white silhouette. A few seconds later, Isaac's eyes made out a woman floating in the water, gliding in the air with a white dress soaking wet and flowing black hair. His friend snapped and ran out to the car. Isaac just froze in terror and couldn't move a single muscle. His legs wouldn't respond to him. All of a sudden, they both heard the blood-curdling scream, "Ay, mis hijos, ¿dónde están mis hijos?" Oh, my children, where are my children?
Okay,
just to translate.
Thank you.
And the specter got close to the edge of the water. Isaac snapped out of it and ran to the car, got in, and punched the gas pedal as soon as he could leave out of there. When they got home, all shaken and scared, they realized they forgot all of the fishing gear, but since they were too scared to go back to and retrieve things, they just let them get lost. Isaac told me that their lives were much more valuable than all those replaceable things. But one thing for sure, they vowed never to return to that place again. This place is located between Bicentennial Boulevard going to the Plaza Mall on the right-hand side. It's all, I have no idea where this is at. This is like somewhere in Texas. The right-hand side, it's fenced all around the lake. Maybe a curious or a brave one might go and explore that place during the midnight just to see if La Llorona still roams around those waters. Unquote. The story's by some guy named JC.
Well, thank you, JC, for that story.
Illustrious story from 1986.
Again, I have another question. Has this woman supposedly have hurt anybody else? When they see her, or is it something?
I have not heard any stories about that. I mean, I don't think if they did, we wouldn't have the story. If she did, we wouldn't have the story, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I understand that, but any other kids have gone missing?
Well, I know there's stories of kids gone missing that are blamed on her, but they're not proven.
Right. Okay.
It's more of a just, little Susie's gone.
La Llorona took her.
And like she floated away in the river, and they found her. They found the child in the river a couple days later, and then, not to be depressive, but
this is all a scenario that doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I'm over here like, the fuck?
No. So I have another story. It's called A Kansas Tale. Recently, while working as a copy editor for a newspaper, I came across a wire story about La Llorona that brought back memories of what happened to me while I was a student at Kansas State University in the early 1980s in Manhattan, Kansas, and led me to your website where I read more about the legend. One evening, I went to a mobile home that I seem to remember being near a creek or a river to visit a couple of my friends who also were attending K-State. As I walked into the door, I found them sitting on the sofa looking somewhat freaked out. They explained that just moments earlier, one of the bar stools was spinning and hopping around. As they were Mexican Americans, they wondered whether the La Llorona had anything to do with the incident. They explained the legend to me as I had never heard it before. They would invite me to stay the night in a spare bedroom, which I did. Later in the night, a woman appeared to me laying next to me in bed and asked if I would know where her children were.
Nope.
It seemed that while I may have been dreaming, I was half awake. Then I fully awoke and looked up toward the doorway just in time to see a dark figure seemingly looking at me and then quickly ducking back out of the doorway. Right then, that left me too scared to go check and see if that was one of my friends checking in on me, perhaps to see why I was talking in my sleep or something. I went back to sleep and waited until the morning to ask them if either one of them looked into my room during the night. Neither one did. So to this day, I did not know whether I really did experience a supernatural visit or if my dream and mind played tricks on me. Submitted by unknown name and unknown city.
Well, it's a Kansas tale, so it's somewhere in Kansas.
Well, she's talking about back in 1980s, so.
Oh, it gets to me that this fucking thing seems to get around.
Yeah.
You're in Guadalupe, now you're in fucking Texas, and then they
Kansas.
It's like all over the place. Kansas, I mean,
Well, I
if
mean,
nothing else.
maybe it could just be the same spirit, just in.
Or it's a spirit that can transform itself. I mean, we've heard that before too.
Yeah, but if it's
but it still falls into the same category of it being a woman in white with black hair. That's
asking about her children.
That's asking about her children near a body of water.
No, I get that.
That can literally be anywhere.
You know what the funny part is,
I can go
though?
to the Passaic River right now, and that shit probably could fucking happen. I mean, I doubt that with all the pollution, but
We're gonna blame
pollution.
pollution.
I'm gonna blame
I was
pollution.
gonna
I'm gonna
say
blame,
the same thing.
and that's the cure right there to stop every supernatural entity. Pollution. So you got to destroy the earth to just stop these spirits.
So we are pro pollution on Is This Real?
That's right. That's right. Open up them coal mines, boys.
But you know what those to get back to the story that you had before, you know what those guys did, which is the right thing to do. They didn't fuck with that shit.
It ain't fuck with that shit, bro. They see my man's was petrified. He said, "Yo, fuck that fishing gear. My life is more important."
It's it's funny though, because you have all these stories that people may have seen, may have this. They didn't know if they seen it or not. It's again, with most of the stuff we have done this season, it's no concrete evidence of it.
No,
you know
yeah.
what
I mean, it's really hard to just say that this is real, based on the fact that it just comes from it's an individual thing. It's not like there's not like a series of patterns that happens with this.
Yeah. So I know we're going to take another little break. I know Josh has a little more tidbits about LLorona, so we will be right back.
Where, Josh? What do you think?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history, we also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
Hey, how you doing? You like movies? We like movies. You like music? So do we. And books, and video games, and television. We are Multimedia Mafia, and we like to discuss all of those things. And we drop a new episode every single Wednesday. So come check us out, or a couple of guys from Jersey is going to pay you a visit.
And we are back from break again. So I know Joshua, Mr. Roblox, I know you have a little more tidbit for this little case that we have here. Please
it's
explain, Lucy.
Well, it's a little bit more about like locations. Everyone says the Southwest, and one of the ones that did pop up that I saw here is that there was a one Patricio Lugan. He reported that when he was a boy, him and his family saw the spirit on a creek between Mora and Guadalupe, New Mexico. Their family was sitting outside talking. They saw a tall, thin woman walking along the creek. She then seemed to float over the water, started up the hill, and vanished. They reported that they went to get a closer look, and she reappeared and then disappeared again. And obviously the family was looking for footprints, and they didn't find any. So for them, they had no doubt that the spirit was LLorona. And it seems like at least the origin, maybe because of where it was and history, it seems to be at least the earlier tales were all being reported by Hispanic people. Southwest region, and one of the main ones that keeps popping up is Santa Fe, New Mexico. So
I've also seen a lot of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, no. It basically is New Mexico is like the origin. At least that's what it seems like from the earliest reports of people saying that, and where the folklore probably came from. So I'm not going to sit there and say like this is 100% real. She really is there. It could be people just experiencing it, but there might be some fact, I guess you can say, of it starting somewhere and then spreading.
Some type of truth.
Yeah, some type of truth.
Oh, it could have. What it could have been
in that aspect.
Yeah, what it could have been. It could be that an accident did happen, and then from like word to mouth,
Yeah,
you get
like
it
telephone.
down history. Yeah, exactly. It spun into what you see now, and then people who do experience these ghostly things, if they do experience these ghostly things, correlate it with these stories, because again, it's all these stories that we're reading on here. It's woman in white, dark hair, wailing,
it's
talking
always
about children, shit like that.
Yeah,
So-
it's always at night, and it's always by rivers.
Yeah, for some strange reason, like if it's southeast, southwest, going towards Mexico, it's La Llorona. But if it's up north or anything, it's just the weeping woman or the woman in white. So it's like essentially literally the same type of
like I said,
entity.
every region of the country, like I said before, has a weeping woman or a La Llorona.
At least for this one, because of the fact that it's more Hispanic based, that type of a folklore. It's basically, like we said, all throughout the Southwest, and apparently it's been reported as far as Montana on the banks of the Yellowstone River. So, I mean, it's gone that far up.
Well, I mean, if you look at the
Hey, she's looking for her children. They could be anywhere.
Well, true.
if you look at the folklore of at least the Spanish, lore, or the Hispanic lore, if you want to, call that, it goes with Hispanic lore. They go deep. Like you're talking about like voodoo and well, that's not Hispanic, but
That's more of like, I mean,
You can say witchcraft. You don't have to say
witchcraft and stuff like that. There's a lot of
You also got to, you got to understand that back in the day, these people in these countries, particularly South America, didn't have much. The countries were the country would rip them off. They'd have no money, and so they would latch on to these stories that brought them comfort. And
how does this story bring you comfort, though?
well, it brings you comfort in a situation where you could talk about it to your neighbor, and you're all in it together.
You you share the story, you probably experienced it, and you find comfort knowing that you're probably not crazy because someone else had a similar experience.
And like you said before, it goes down to scaring the children, especially with something. I think it goes to the culture too, because you can, if you scare someone with a lore that which is in your region or your culture, it gives you a little bit more of a scare, I'm guessing, because if I don't know if you guys, because you guys are both Hispanic, if your parents ever threatened you with a ghostly tale or something like that to try to straighten you out or some type of shit like that, but you could always I've heard stories of people say, if you do this, the whatchamacallit will get you, shit like that. That goes within the culture of which,
Every culture.
there's
that's what I'm saying. There's, with Irish people, people talk about leprechauns and.
Well, we can ask that real quick. What about you, Eric? Did they do that?
As far as I remember, I don't think so. For the most part, my house has always been one of those things where they're very big on blessing the house, making sure that the house is clean, good energy, all that sorts of stuff. So in that sort of sense, I guess no, because they would never threaten your well-being with, at least in my household, they never threatened my well-being with anything negative coming into the house if they were if they were cleaning the house every few months or whatever.
That's another part of it too, because again, with going back to the people who were basically poor people, and they had this one thread.
Poor?
No, the people back then were very poor in these countries, and today they're still up. They're still poor.
I'm still poor.
You know, but the point I'm making is they could believe all this stuff together. And don't forget, the Hispanic community. I'm not allowed to tell you two guys, but very, very deep religious roots.
Yeah.
Very deep. I mean,
from what I remember, It didn't happen in my house, but a story that I do remember, or something that that they would try to scare people with, is I think having a cross in front of your door, or like your bedroom door, to just.
Well, that's in a lot of cultures, because our dad's mother, Mama, she had a cross almost nailed to every doorway. Every
3 feet.
Yeah, you guys know, Mama and Papa were very religious people.
Yeah.
And they had statues. They didn't fuck with the church or anything.
They
like
didn't
that.
fuck with that shit.
Yeah, they didn't do anything like that. So it goes again. The more generations you go back, the more religious I believe you get. I mean, now not a lot of people.
And there's a reason for that.
Lack of technology as well.
It's the reason for that would be hope.
Oh yeah,
these people needed something.
So you're telling us that the people today don't have hope?
Well, I mean, I personally believe that every human being has something that they attach themselves with to give themselves a sense of hope, so to give themselves a sense of way to push themselves forward, to not be so. Because in reality, life is suffering. Buddha said it best. Life is suffering. You're gonna have happy moments, but overall, you're gonna fucking suffer. So for the most part, you just want something to at least tell yourself that it's gonna be better, or at least something that's like.
And a lot of people attach themselves to religion for that.
No, yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like we all attach ourselves to something just to. I feel like that's what makes us human.
No, I agree with you.
Oh, I definitely had a different experience than him and most of what you guys said. So
you know what? Well, you know what, Block? You could be like half human.
Well, no. See, again, he's the resident atheist in the booth. So
first of all, I wasn't actually referring to that, even though I am. I was referring more to growing up and being scared by like folklores and stuff like that, or to be disciplined by having, or trying to be obedient by being scared. I never had any of that.
Oh, no, you wouldn't, because you're an atheist, so you don't believe in anything.
Well, no, I never had that because I actually got my ass beat when I was a bad boy.
Oh, I guess you
that was a very tangible, real thing.
Yeah, that was very real for me. I didn't need folklores to get my ass in check. I got my ass beat.
You saw the chancleta and was just like, "Hey, espérate, bro. Let me like relax a little bit."
Exactly. I could not have said it any better. Thank you.
No, okay, I get that. But I guess we'll go into our if you believe the story or not. Really, you have to drop your phone. Asshole.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So, Dad, we'll start with you. Do you believe in the LLorona, or the crier?
I want to say no, but there's just something about this story that is very intriguing to me. That it's gone down in so many different countries, and into the parts of the United States. I'm not going to say that. Yeah, I do believe there's a spirit that goes around. She drowned her kids.
That story could be real.
I just don't. I don't know what to think. I really don't. I want to say that somewhere along the line this had to have an origin somewhere, or it was just a group of people one night got together and they were going to control the children. So regrettably, I'm going to say I don't believe that the crier is real, but I'll put an asterisk next to that.
All right, Mr. West.
I'm gonna hit y'all with a classic roadblock answer, and I'm on the fence about it because, like how Pop said, it does originate from somewhere, at some given point. Yes, people could have fabricated the story or say that they saw it, but for the most part, every story that we've read and have seen has the few common elements where it's at night, it's by a body of water, and it's a woman asking where her children are in Spanish. So, I mean, it can be real. I'm not going to deny it, but based on the lack of evidence that we really have, I can't say that it's not real. So I'm on the fence about it.
All right, roadblock.
I will say no. I don't believe in La Llorona itself, like that actual specific one, I will say I do believe that there is a scenario where at one point a woman went crazy because her lover didn't want her anymore or cheated on her or something like that, and she went, batshit crazy and killed her kids in a fit of rage. Like,
we've heard stories about that before too.
Yeah, no, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like that I believe in, because that
has happened
from studies of like psychology, past experience, seeing those actual reports happen. Like, I know that's something that can happen. I do believe in that, and it is unfortunate that it would get to that point for anyone to be able to do that, just simply because of thinking like, those are your kids. How can you do something like that? So, I mean, that I say is real. La Llorona, no, I don't believe.
As far as me, I'm gonna go with I do believe it's real, because, again, it can be based on a true story, a true event that's happened, and I believe if something like that has happened, that can disturb a person's spirit enough to where they have to be wandering or can be eternally doomed in purgatory.
No, yeah, I mean, she killed her fucking kids.
That's what I'm saying. So I do believe, and like I said, I believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits. Yeah. As far as the whole, what you saw in the movie, obviously that's all Hollywood drama. So I don't believe any of that shit happened or anything like that. But as far as people seeing this ghost near a body of water, wailing for her kid, speaking in Spanish, again, I don't know what the fuck her name is, Maria or anything like that. Like Maria, no.
Maria.
So I do believe that there is a ghost out there that fits these descriptions, and I guess you can call it the La Llorona, because it, obviously we haven't heard any, at least in all the stories we read tonight, it hasn't really hurt anybody.
No.
So I don't know if it's an evil spirit or anything like that. Now, obviously, you kill your kids and you're eternally doomed in purgatory. Like, you would think it would be an evil spirit, but maybe this ghost is just trying to find her
that's the
kids.
whole thing that changes everything.
I mean, you said it best when you were reading it as well. She regretted what she did and then killed herself. So
yeah,
that regret could have built up into just let her be in purgatory, not to keep cutting you off, Pops.
No. But my question to you is this: she's in purgatory. We've established that, but yet she's killed 2 children and herself. That's all. Major sins. You kill yourself, they say you'll go right to hell. You killed 2 children.
On top of that,
you're going to purgatory? Fuck, I'm a shoo-in for heaven then. If you really look at it that way, this is the consistency.
I can see where you're going with that, but I'm trying to figure out like what that meant.
No, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Well, I mean, hold on. On the grand scheme of, you want to take out a book and say, you'll see venial sins, you'll have this, and murder is 200,000 years, and killing 2 children, that's 500,000 years. Point is, she's not. If the story is she's in purgatory, then she just was an evil prick, when she was here. But she killed 2 people and herself. That's not purgatory bound.
At least going at it from the Abrahamic Christian way of looking at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I think. It depends on where you're looking, how you view it, and maybe your origins. Because you could say with the religion involved, that means she should be damned. But you can also have to consider like early American Hispanic families and stuff like that, of what they viewed, if they were religious or not. Mm-hmm. Which is why the tale, if you want to say, originally probably didn't involve purgatory. That could have been more of like the northern states that turned the story or folklore into that way, because that's how they viewed it.
Right.
Well, I could see that, but if that was the case, now granted, we haven't read all of these stories that to deal with La Llorona, so we don't know at least any of the stories that have her attacking people or killing somebody or anything like that.
I remember what happened in Supernatural.
Well, yeah, that's yes.
That was TV.
That was TV. Again,
Yes.
Hollywood, Toronto, Hollywood, shit like So again, it's one of those things. So if she obviously, she's being sent to hell, she would have to be an evil spirit, because no good spirits are in hell. I guess if you believe all that. So I would say if she hasn't attacked anybody, she's not an evil spirit. She's not trying to do anybody harm. She's just trying to look for her kids. She's
a wandering spirit.
A wandering spirit that obviously, hasn't at least hurt anybody in the stories we read tonight, and we only read a couple.
The last one where the guy said that it was in bed with her. That counted.
That was a woman.
Yeah.
That
one kind of like, I don't know. That one made me think more of like shadow people type thing.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that's where we'll wrap up this episode because we did go a little bit longer. But just to give a shout out, I know we have debuted this weekend our Exploring New Jersey episode, our first episode with all of us in it. That's a combination of Multimedia Mafia. Go check them out on Spotify. And our Is This Real cast. And that's on YouTube, our YouTube page at Green Hour Media. We have our greenhourmedia.org. Our website is up with our website merch. Please, people, go to greenhourmedia.org and go buy our merch. It's good merch. We have more merch coming. We definitely have more Multimedia Mafia merch coming out. And please go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And just remember, everybody, always question everything. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Oyatsumi.
Good night, everybody.
Konnichiwa, bitches. It's Ryu West speaking. If you want to find out more about the Is This Real podcast, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/isthisrealpc, or on Twitter at isthisrealpc, or on Instagram at isthisrealpodcast, all one word.